Samsung has released a revised privacy policy that left some users wondering if the company's smart TVs were spying on them. I sat down with Michael Price of the Brennan Center for Justice.
First of all, lay out the issue here for us.
Well, what's going on when you're talking to the television is that it's capturing your voice and translating it into text through a third party, through another company, and then trying to send the control back to the television. The problem is that when you have that sort of software and the microphone on all the time, it's collecting a lot of information about what you might say in the privacy of your own living room, and there come the problem.
Is it on all the time or just when you cue it to record?
It depends on the model. So some of the newer models are on all the time, so you don't have to go searching for the remote and press a button. Some of them you press a button and speak into it.
And so when we talk about third parties, what does that mean?
It means that you are sending that information to a company that's going to then do something with it, provide a service, in this case, the voice to text service that the TV requires in order to function.
Samsung issued this updated warning, or whatever you want to call it, on their products that this may be happening. Sort of an ominously worded document, right?
It was a little ominous. It said, you know, be careful about what you say in front of the television. Try not to have any sensitive conversations in your living room because the TV is going to be recording what you say and sending that data off to another company.
Now that said, you speak into an Apple phone, you talk to Siri, you can ask Siri questions.
That's absolutely
right. Same thing's
right.
being transmitted?
It's absolutely true. It's Siri on your iPhone. It's the 8 computers that are in your car. We're talking about the Internet of Things. We're talking about putting chips into physical objects and connecting them to the Internet. And what that does is create a lot of data. And that data can be used for convenience, for efficiency, but it can also be a very attractive nuisance for hackers, and it also doesn't receive privacy protection under the Fourth Amendment in the way that you and I think, would like to see it protected.
If you're Samsung right now or another electronics maker, what are you trying to do, or what should you do to assuage some of these concerns?
I think security can't be an afterthought in creating these new products. It needs to be secure from hackers, from outside groups who may want to access this really sensitive information. But really there needs to be a change in the law, in the policy that makes this data more or less an open book. And right now, a warrant is not required to get these third-party records that we're talking about.
So what needs to change in the law? Warrants should be required, what else?
There's this legal doctrine, the third-party records doctrine, has to go out the window. That is the only way that data like this is going to be private going forward.
So it goes to the third parties, but you don't know whether it gets stored or recorded or kept.
It varies depending on the technology that we're talking about. In this case, it seems like your spoken words aren't kept, but text of them is. So that data then sits there, and it sits there for another company to use, perhaps through advertising. There's an advertising component to all of this. It sits there to be hacked at some point later on in the future, and it sits there for the government to access it should they decide to do that.
I saw a customer make, in one of the pieces on this the other night, what seemed like a reasonable point. Listen, I know this is being recorded. I know what day and age we live in now. This is happening because they're trying to get better information about me to better serve me. Is that a fair point?
I think that's a fair point. It seems like the reason they're collecting a lot of this is to provide some benefit back to the consumer. And that's a good thing. To the extent that it's going to advertising, maybe less of a good thing. But outside of that, again, you have criminals and you have law enforcement, and those are two big concerns.
So is your recommendation at this point to turn off the voice recognition software until all this gets sorted out?
I mean, personally, I don't enjoy yelling at my television and waving my hands around. I'm happy to push a button. And so in my case, yes, I turned off the voice recognition, I turned off the camera, and it's now a dumb TV again.
Michael Price, I have a feeling much more to come on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.